Did you do some lobbying to get back out there for the potential?
Yeah, I suck. Everyone else on the team scored, except for me. No, that means a lot to me for them to keep me in at the end of the game there and try to get me that record. But hey, I'll take a huge win.
Christian McCaffrey on the effort yesterday to set the all-time record for touchdowns scored in consecutive games.
Oh,
Don't
you were
get me
getting
started.
a little nervous. Don't get him started.
Don't get me started.
They're going to get hurt. They're going to get hurt.
Well,
I know. I understand.
There's a point
risky.
where,
yeah.
especially when your team consists of a bunch of psychos in a good way.
Yes.
Guys who roll out of bed and run through a wall, and sometimes the wall wins.
Yeah, right.
And we just get everybody back healthy for the 49ers.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel back. Trent Williams back. Christian McCaffrey healthy. 2 weeks to rest up. And you're going to get caught up in some stupid-ass, meaningless.
They didn't think it was.
Meaningless. They've been hanging around John Harbaugh? Is this consecutive wins in the preseason? Is this consecutive games with 100 yards in total team rushing?
You're funny.
What the I mean, seriously. Why are you risking the guy who is the straw that stirs your milkshake?
Yeah.
Why are you risking this guy for that? Why? Winning is fun. This stuff isn't fun if it gets Christian McCaffrey injured.
Yeah.
And that would have been the lead of the show. If he gets injured when they're dicking around, excuse me. At
Hello,
the end,
London.
Sorry, London. When they're dicking around at the end of the game,
Hello,
trying to give
Liverpool.
this guy a meaningless touchdown, he gets injured, and we are killing Kyle Shanahan today. And he should be almost as criticized for letting it happen and taking that risk. He's playing Russian roulette with his franchise. And it's inexcusable to me.
Well, listen, it's risky. Would I have done it? No. Okay. It's part of what the 49ers are, though. And you talk about that, renegade, psychos in a good way. That's pedal to the metal a little. It's what
all
makes
gas,
them
no
great.
brakes.
Yeah, well,
Woo,
there's
baby.
a reason he
There's
came
a
from
reason
that
there's
team.
brakes.
Right. but I think Shanahan is been around football his whole life, so there's a respect for history there. I also think McCaffrey is a little like that as well.
You know how you make history?
But
you know how you make history?
Win Super Bowl.
You win Super Bowls.
I hear you. So I'm with you in that it was risky. Thank God nothing happened. But yes, to be up 34-3, give him the ball a handful of times at the very end when the game was totally over, yes, was scary. And I certainly wouldn't have done it, but they did, and they got away with it.
As much as I respect Kyle,
Yeah.
the reality is he is prone, and maybe this explains why you're his friend. He is prone to doing dumb shit, right? The super genius.
Maybe that's why he's my friend.
Got this weird blind spot where he'll just do dumb stuff, like let Steve Wilkes send everybody after the Vikings on, the last play of the half, all-out blitz, and they get burned for a long touchdown. Like, he's got these weird little misfires in his brain, and maybe that's one of the products of a highly functioning brain. There's going to be a misfire from time to time. I just think that he would admit, if he had to, I shouldn't have done that. There's nothing to be gained by doing that.
I would hope so. I don't know if that's one where McCaffrey was in his ear. I don't know.
It's like, Christian, that's where the coach has to say, Christian, we just got everybody healthy again.
Right.
And our ability to win the Super Bowl is going to rest on keeping everybody healthy. But that's not how they think. That's the problem. In their mind, that's a loser's mentality, because they're like we use the Tasmanian devil comparison for a lot of guys in football.
Yeah.
Their whole team
is that
bzzz,
exactly right.
And they don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care if they get injured along the way. They just, and as soon as they're healthy, they're going to zzz all over the place again.
That's
and
right.
they get injured.
We don't remember that last time.
All over the place again.
Right. Hey, well, the one thing to that point, I think that's going to be a good learning tool for Jacksonville and getting their butt whooped yesterday. They're going to realize, whoa, the 49ers psychoness, Tasmanian devilness is on another level. And if we want to go to the Super Bowl and that's the intensity you got to have, then we got to up our game. So I think that's a learning experience for them. You make the point, they just got healthy. And when you see the 49ers healthy on the offense, offensive side of the ball. When Shanahan can play, Kittle and McCaffrey off each other, and then Debo off of McCaffrey, and then you sprinkle in some Brandon Ayuk, they're extremely tough to defend. That's where Shanahan is so great. Oh, here's a run to McCaffrey. Here's a run to McCaffrey. Oh, I'm going to keep it out the backside, and now we're going to run, a bootleg. Oh, touchdown. Here's the run to McCaffrey. Here's the run to McCaffrey. We're going to fake the run to McCaffrey, and I'm going to toss it to Debo Samuel, who's going to come around in the reverse, right? 2nd and 1. To your point, Tasmanian Devil. The hell with running it up the middle. We're going to take a 40-yard shot down the sideline to George Kittle and score on a huge touchdown for a 66-yard touchdown pass. But yes, when Shanahan has his crew healthy, Trent Williams healthy, we saw that they are certainly one of the most explosive, physical, dangerous teams in all of football.
34-3, just as the Jaguars had ascended into the upper echelon of the National Football League, they get a huge dose of reality. And I like your take that they got a glimpse of what they're going to have to become. If I'm Doug Peterson today, that's my message to the team. Let's watch this film. Look at what these guys do. You guys want to be among the greats. Right. You got to take the talent you have, and you've got to attach this mindset to it.
Yep.
And you got to go out there, and you got to Tasmanian Devil your way through
Work
your
yourself
opponents.
up to another level of intensity that you didn't realize you got to get to play with the cream of the crop in the NFL. And that's what the game felt like to me. It felt like, of course, like you said, they're healthy. They're coming off a bye week. They're pissed off they lost 3 in a row, right? They got Chase Young. That's a little bit of a bump on that side of the ball. They got all these things working there. And it felt like from the get-go that the 49ers were playing in fast forward, and Jacksonville was like stuck in mud. I mean, they were winning the physical battle. They were flying around the field. The thing I saw on the defensive side that I felt like changed, Wilkes, we know Chase Young, they came out starting, and I think you heard me say this when the game, I was going, man, the 49ers came out with 5 D linemen. So all the little issues they've had in the secondary stop in the past, they basically said, up yours. We're not going to give the quarterback enough time to throw the ball against our secondary. We're just going to cause issues that way. But I thought they did some different stuff with their alignments up front that caused problems for Jacksonville. We know they got a front 4 that is special. I mean, there's a 3-man rush where they meet at the quarterback, the 2 Ohio State guys. You got Eric Armstead and Hargrave in the middle, right? And I thought Steve Wilkes, like this alignment here, Mike, right? I saw more of this. We don't know who's blitzing, who's coming. There's a guy on the edge. There's 2 guys in the middle, right? Just to create a little advantage for your defensive line and confusion for that O-line. That's all the 49ers and Steve Wilkes need. A little illusion of complexity, a little make the quarterback think just a little bit more. Those are the things they were missing. And then their talent on their team. I mean, you heard Jason Garrett yesterday, right? Jason Garrett, who's coached the Cowboys, was on the greatest team maybe ever in the 92-93 Cowboys. He's turning around a few times during the game going, damn, don't they look good? Holy cow, don't they look good? The 49ers. They have a look test when they're playing their best football, that is, right? I mean, you just go, wow, I don't know if anybody can play that level of football.
That's what makes it so stunning when they lose.
Exactly, right.
And when they lose 3 in a row and lose by 14 at home to cap it.
Yeah.
And I suspect it was a long 2 weeks for them of licking their wounds and searching their souls, but getting themselves healthy so they could Tasmanian Devil their way through the Jaguars. And I don't think the Jaguars ever really knew what was coming. And
Agreed.
I think the fact that they were getting a team that had lost 3 in a row maybe made them not as
urgent,
prepared for what it was.
Right.
That, okay.
We're good,
yeah,
too.
They've won. Maybe it was a lot of maybe it's just a lot of hype and come on. We're good too.
Yeah.
They found out that they got some work to do to be on the same level as the 49ers. We showed you the touchdown pass earlier that started the scoring on the day. Brock Purdy rolling to his left,
buying a little time,
throwing into the sea of hands.
Yeah.
And here's Kyle Shanahan from after the game on Purdy's play and specifically his decision to throw that ball where he did when he did it.
Yeah, that was honestly one of, I can say this because he played well, but that was like one of his worst decisions I think he's made since he's been here. And it took me a while to get over it, but I thanked him for the touchdown. But that was not a good decision, and he was fortunate with it, but he made a lot of really good plays, and if you are going to make a bad decision and it's still a touchdown, in the grand scheme of things, he can tell me it was a real good decision, but I know we can't. He knows that. He knows what he did wrong, but Ayuk made him right.
They say it's better to be lucky than good, but good prevails over time. It's better to be good because good is going to save your ass. That was when he threw that. I was like, oh,
I did
no.
too. I did too.
Oh, no.
He
The
threw
2
a-
weeks off hasn't done anything to
Right.
make this guy any better. The chariot has gone back to pumpkin, and then that ball just floats over everyone's hands and ends up in Brandon Ayuk's.
Oh, it's really. I mean, Kittle and Ayuk are both in the same spot. I questioned who he was even throwing to. I wasn't even sure who it was, right? But there was, some people there, some Jacksonville Jaguar defenders there where, that one I'm sure made Shanahan a little uneasy. But Brock Purdy, I think, has taken a little more criticism than he deserved in that 3-game losing streak. I know he made some critical mistakes, but as I told you, in the Bengals game, he made some throws and plays in that game where I went, that's as good as I've ever seen him throw it or make plays there. Hopefully this gets him back on track. The big thing that happened to them in the 3-game losing streak, right, was they were unhealthy and they asked too much of Brock Purdy. This was the right mix here. When they can run the ball, not ask him to throw the ball 40 times a game and carry the team, this is where he really shines, and we'll see if they can continue this dominance there. But, like you said, Jacksonville never could get going, never met the intensity of the 49ers, and Trevor Lawrence was uncomfortable the whole day.
And the 49ers weren't content to stand pat with that defense. They knew they needed some improvements. They knew they needed to make some changes. Steve Wilkes coming from the booth down to the sideline.
Right.
That clearly helped.
Definitely.
And it wasn't just some random decision that was made. It's a fundamental difference in the existence of a coach to be positioned in the booth, watching everything unfold and having more information on which future decisions can be based about how you're going to attack a team versus being on the sideline where you don't have the same perspective, but you're able to communicate. And communication was the word that came up last week. He wanted to be able to communicate with his guys better. And whatever it was, it worked. And we know how sports are. When you find something that works, you don't change it. You keep doing it. What was happening before wasn't working. This worked, so you keep doing it. It helped that they got Chase Young. And there was a report yesterday morning from Shefty that they had looked into Patrick Surtain of the Broncos, Jalen Johnson of the Bears, Montez Sweat also, and they ended up sending the third-round pick compensatory, not conditional, compensatory third-round pick to Washington for Chase Young. And I poked around a little bit because we were talking about that whole what they tried to do to get Surtain. The Eagles were in it too, and it was, as it was described to me, both the Eagles and the 49ers were like, we don't want the other to get him. Like,
an arms race.
Like we can't, like we'd rather he just stay in Denver.
Yeah.
If anybody's going to get him, we want it to be us.
Right.
And at the end of the day, the Broncos are like, hang on.
We got to salvage our own season here a little.
We're not trading this guy.
Right.
They'd have to be completely blown away. And maybe it'll happen in the offseason. I don't know.
Yeah.
They'd have to be completely blown away to move on from a guy that they regard as a cornerstone player of their franchise. But it's just funny to see that the Eagles and the 49ers. And look, they're the two. You can put the Cowboys in there now too.
Yeah.
Because when the Cowboys are firing all cylinders, they can beat anybody. And if they're playing at home, they beat everybody.
Right.
But Eagles, 49ers, and then a little half-click Cowboys, a little half-click Lions.
Yeah.
But it's Eagles, 49ers running that conference.
I think so. I think when we look at them playing at their best, those look like the two best teams to me. They've all had their little hiccups here and there. But, hey, listen, that's a Jacksonville team that I look at and go, there's not many weak spots on that roster. They got talent everywhere, and the 49ers brought it to them in a big way. And hey, the NFL is crazy too. It's the we saw in there they got down there close to make the game interesting. It's 20-10, right? I believe it was 20-10 and drove down there. Or no, it was good. They were going to try to make it 20-10. It was 20-3. Christian Kirk fumbles. When they're down there close to scoring a touchdown. They had another drive where it was second and short, and they were in field goal territory on the 49ers, and Trevor Lawrence threw a bad interception to Hufanga. So it was just not a good showing by Jacksonville. But agreed with you. In San Francisco at their best, the talent on the roster, the way they play, the way they're coached. I think Wilkes being on the field, to your point, you have a feel. You don't overreact as much. You get a feel from the players a little bit about how they feel during the game. There's a different aspect or look you get from the game on the field as compared to up in the box, 300 feet above the field there.
Peter King made the Jaguars in his preseason predictions the number 1 seed in the AFC because their schedule is not daunting.
Right.
And the 49ers game was one of the remaining, maybe we have a problem moments on the schedule. But you know what? As we look forward, all of a sudden that schedule, it's funny how the season unfolding can take a weak schedule and make it look not so weak.
Right.
They've got the Titans at home, Titans at home next week, but then they're at the Texans, who already beat them by 20 in Jacksonville.
Right.
So that isn't a road apple game anymore.
No.
Then they got the Bengals on a Monday night,
Right.
and we know who the Bengals are and what the Bengals are. Then they got to go to Cleveland.
Yes.
You want to go to Cleveland in December? Do you want to go to Cleveland anytime and play the Browns this year? I don't think so.
No.
Oh, and then they got the Ravens on Sunday Night Football, Week 15.
No doubt.
So it really isn't as easy as it looks. The last 3 games at Tampa, Carolina, at Tennessee, okay.
Favorable.
But you got to get there. I mean, they could find themselves losing the division to the Texans.
Yeah, well, you can certainly see them losing 3 out of 4 of those games you just mentioned there, right? And go, well, that's not crazy to think that they lost to the Bengals, the Browns, and, the Texans, and maybe beat the Ravens or whatever, however you want to put it. But, yeah, it's going to be dicey down the stretch with some of these AFC football teams because they're all playing each other. And I think we have a good chance of, like we kind of talked about before the year, of seeing a team where in the AFC this year where we can go, that team could have won the Super Bowl and they might not make the playoffs just because of how talented the conference is.
That November 26th game, Week 12, 1 o'clock Eastern, Jaguars at Texans is critical too because if the Texans complete the sweep, then they win. If they're
all tiebreakers,
they win the tiebreaker.
Right.
They win the division. All they have to have is the same record as the Jaguars, and they win the division. So, hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.